she gave up her ticket to London to sit beside a grieving friend. 1 year later, that same friend landed in London and did not tell her. Not a call, not a message, not even a goodbye. She chose her friend over her future. Her friend chose the future without her. It's good to be loyal, but don't be stupid. Welcome to the Afro Tales with Kemi, where African stories are told slowly, honestly, and with meaning. So sit back, open your heart, and walk with me through today's tale. Told, as always, the African way. I am Kemi Iwalesin. Bunmi had been waiting for that opportunity for 3 years. Not passive waiting, the Lagos kind, where you walk to jobs, send application after application into the silence of foreign email addresses, refresh your inbox at midnight, and wake up the next morning to try again. The UK work placement came through on a Tuesday. Our cousin's contact, a slot that had opened, a deadline that was real. Bunmi sat in her room in Japa and cried the way people cry when relief and disbelief arrive at exactly the same moment. Then she called Temi. 3 years of waiting, one phone call changed everything. Temi's father had died 4 days earlier. Bunmi could hear it in her voice before Temi even finished saying hello. That particular flatness that grief leaves behind, like all the color had been drained out of a person's words. The burial arrangements, the relatives arriving, the food to coordinate, the siblings who were falling apart, Temi, who was the oldest, holding everything together while being the most broken. Bunmi listened to all of it, and then she made a decision. She called her cousin and said the timing was wrong. She could not leave her friend like this. There will be other opportunities. Her cousin was quiet for a long time, then said, Bunmi, slots like this don't come back. Bunmi said she understood, and she went to Temi anyway. She chose her friend over her future. It felt like the right thing to do. She stayed for 3 weeks. She cooked. She cleaned. She sat in silence beside Temi at 2 in the morning when the grief became too loud to sleep through. She coordinated relatives. She handled the things nobody else wanted to handle. Temi said, I don't know what I would do without you. And Bunmi believed her. She went home to Japa. She picked up her applications again. She kept going. Real friendship looks like showing up when it costs you something. It was a mutual friend who mentioned it. Casually, the way people say things they assume you already know. So you heard Temi is in London now? She left last month, got a placement through someone at her office. Bunmi was standing in a supermarket on Lagos Island when she heard this. She remembers the exact aisle. She remembers reaching for something on a shelf. and then not moving for a moment that was longer than it should have been. Temi had not called, had not sent a message, had not said, "I am doing the thing you gave up for me. I thought you should know." There had been nothing. Only a photograph weeks later on Instagram. Temi in a winter coat, somewhere grey, smiling in the cold. Not a call, not a message, just a photo on Instagram. Bunmi did not call Temi and confront her. Some people find this unsatisfying. They want the reckoning, the conversation, the moment where someone is made to sit with what they did. But Bunmi understood something difficult to explain. That some betrayers answer every question you still had about a person. And after that, there is nothing left to ask. She let the friendship thin, not with cruelty, not with announcements, simply by no longer running toward it. She got to the UK 2 years later. Different route, her own terms. She sent no photograph to mark the moment. She simply arrived, unpacked her bags, and stood at the window of her new flat, looking out at a city that was now hers. She thought of Temi once, briefly. Then she thought about everything she was going to do next. She arrived quietly on her own terms. Here is what breaks my heart about this story. Bunmi did nothing wrong. She was a good friend, a real one, the kind that shows up when it costs her something. But she gave that quality of love to someone who had never learned how to receive it properly. Someone who could take but could not carry. And here is the question I want to leave with you today. Who in your life receives your sacrifice as though it is simply what you owe them? Who has never once asked what it cost you to show up? Because real friendship is not just presence in the hard times, it is also the memory of who stood beside you in yours. This has been Afro Tales with Kemi. I'll see you next Friday. Not everyone who cries in your arms deserves a seat at your table. Some people are only loyal to what you can give them.
When the drum speaks, Africa remembers. When stories rise, hearts awaken. Afro Tales.